A girl was shopping at the supermarket with her boyfriend. She accidentally spotted the contraception items lined up on the shelf, just as Sophie was debating which one to pick. Ethan joked that if she couldn't choose, she could grab one of each. Sophie instantly felt flustered, but after Ethan collected his things, she realized he had actually meant the soap and shampoo. Later that evening, Ethan was inspecting the hotel rooms for their team-building getaway. He planned to share an unforgettable night with Sophie. Back home, Sophie was packing and noticed the lingerie she'd recently bought. She imagined Ethan's reaction, then blushed and set it aside. But recalling her friend's advice, she pulled it out again and held it up in front of the mirror. At that moment, Ethan came looking for her. He caught Sophie hiding something behind her back. So while she wasn't paying attention, he snatched the lingerie from her hands. Sophie was mortified. Then, Ethan dared her to try it on right then and show him. Sophie, cheeks burning, pushed him out the door. The next day brought the team-building challenge. The task was a hike to the mountain peak. The first to reach the summit would claim a luxurious hotel room with a private hot spring, while the last place had to settle for a tent. Ethan made up an excuse, saying Sophie needed to brief him on a case. And that's how he sidestepped the other coworkers. He and Sophie were alone, savoring their private time together. They slipped onto a hidden trail off the main path. And soon it started pouring. They dashed into a small pavilion to wait out the rain, completely letting go and relishing their solitude. The downside, they arrived last, ending up with a tent. That night, the coworkers headed to the resort's marketplace. When Ethan noticed Sophie eyeing ice cream, he bought it for the entire group. Sophie was surprised, catching the adoring look in Ethan's eyes, and felt as joyful as a little child. When Sophie wanted cotton candy, Ethan had his assistant get some for everyone. They kept exchanging glances, and once they slipped away from the coworkers, Ethan led Sophie to a quiet corner for a private moment. But then Ryan appeared, breaking the mood. Ethan grumbled that he had expected the trip to be fun, yet he ended up spending even less time with Sophie. Then at the office, they were about to embrace when Ryan called out again. Ethan's phone rang, and Sophie told him to handle it. Later, at a small bar where everyone played games, Sophie had a little too much to drink. She stepped out to use the restroom, but got lost in the garden. Just then, Ethan called. Seeing she was drunk and disoriented, he panicked and went to find her. When he did, Sophie flung herself into his arms. Several coworkers froze in shock. Ethan immediately raised his hands, pretending that Sophie had confused him for someone else. Then, suddenly, Sophie whispered that she wanted to kiss him. The others quickly looked away, pretending not to notice, daring not to glance back even after Ethan and Sophie walked off. After walking Sophie back to the hotel, Ethan started setting up the tent. Then Sophie stumbled in, falling right onto him.